Fascinating subplot. This round opener tonight is about so much more than just the Uruguayan. For his former club, Melbourne City, this, of course, is about returning to the top of the A-League ladder and proving they're the real deal this season. There's Bruno. And for his current employers, it's about getting off the bottom of the table, with the Glory having done what I suppose you could label as a reverse Stephen Bradbury after lifting the Premiership last season. Amy Park has been a traditionally happy hunting ground for Glory. They have won 9 times previously at this venue. Melbourne City haven't lost here in well over a year. So it's a tough task for the cellar dwellers at the moment. City, of course, coming off the back of a bye, so they've had 14 days to think about this fixture and get ready. Overtaken by Sydney at the top, but 3 points tonight will return them to the A-League summit. Diego Castro, one of the weapons that Tony Popovic has at his disposal, of course. And Perth haven't been playing badly by any stretch, but were beaten here, of course, in Melbourne by victory by the only goal last time around. So as they go through the pre-game handshakes, let's remind you of tonight's team news, starting with the home side. Just the one change for Melbourne City, and that is the return of Connor Metcalfe to the midfield after a hamstring injury, with Denny Jonro dropping down to the bench. It's a bit of a Glory Old Boys reunion for Scott Jamieson, Rostin Griffiths and Jamie McLaren. While Scott Galloway was born in Perth, but only played junior football in his home state. Jamie McLaren, of course, looking to become the quickest player in A-League history to hit double figures in a single season. Just the one change for Glory as well, wearing their change strip tonight. Christian Popovic misses out with a thigh problem, so Gregory Vudrick is slated to move into the midfield, although his coach says that might be a bit of kidology. And Tomislav Merchela is drafted into the defence for his first A-League action since April. Ivan Franic, Neil Kilkenny, and of course Bruno Fornaroli, all facing their former club. Sama Malik remains sidelined with a hamstring injury. Melbourne City fans standing together, that's their theme tune. And their team is in pretty good nick this season. He certainly is. What remarkable stats are following Jamie McLaren around at the moment. 9 A-League goals in just 5 games. He scored 2 or more in each of his 4 matches so far. Only Ross McCormack has ever scored in 5 straight for Melbourne City. What an interesting night it is for Bruno Fornaroli, and what sort of a welcome will he get from those supporters? 70 matches, 48 goals in City Blue, including 29 here at Amy Park. He returns wearing the colours of the Glory tonight. I suppose one of the big questions is, if he scores, does he celebrate? All ended rather acrimoniously for him, didn't it, in this part of the world? But he says he still has a lot of respect and a lot of affection for the club he left. Connor Metcalfe over his injury concerns and will play of one of 2 8s more than likely, along with Josh Brillante, with Rostin Griffiths sitting protecting the City back 4. Our referee is Sean Evans tonight. 99 A-League games in charge for the Melbourne Whistler. And he is about to get us underway on a pristine surface at Amy Park. So we will be officially a third of the way through this season after this weekend. Squads are settled, form is established, and while plenty fancied City, Robbie Slater, not too many I fancy would have picked Perth to be bottom.
No, definitely not. Grand final losers, of course, and premiers played by some distance, so no, an absolute surprise. And for me, watching them, you know, they've been good in periods. They've had good halves, they've had good periods in games, but they just haven't been able to string 90 minutes together as such. But you do get the feeling, and possibly because of the quality. Castro, you've got Fornaroli, you've got Economides, just to mention the front 3. But you've got quality out there, so you do think that sooner or later it's going to turn for them. But this Melbourne City side has been so good to watch. Up there with Sydney, with two outstanding sides of this competition in its earliest stages still.
Tony Popovic has been through this sort of trough before, of course. His Wanderers team finished second last in 2015, the year after reaching their second grand final. He's lost, incidentally, just 3 of 18 meetings against City as an A-League coach. I wonder if that's a bit of an omen tonight. And the first question has been answered. Tomislav Mrčela is playing as part of a back three alongside Alex Grant and Gregory Vutric. So that team lineup, Robbie, was kidology.
That's not like Popper, is it?
Every A-League coach does it.
Yeah, and you've got Meredith on the left-hand side and Franjic
Correct.
on the right-hand side. Will play further forward, but defensively, of course, that'll make a solid block.
It's one of the issues that Perth have had, of course, this season, the departures of those defensive linchpins, Messrs Lowry and Sporanovic and Davidson. There's Eric Mombert. Fascinating article on him by David Davutovic in the Herald Sun in Melbourne this week on his fitness regime. How he takes ice-cold baths and launched into chin-ups, apparently, in the gym when he was being shown around the clock pre-appointment. He's a fit guy, is Eric Mombert.
And that back three, I think Jamie McLaren will enjoy playing that. He likes playing, and off the shoulder and runs in, behind. And with those fullbacks pushed forward in transition, he could get some joy down those channels.
How does he rate your French, Robbie? Monsieur Mombert.
Très bien. I said to him, my French accent's better than your English accent. That's how we judged it.
Here's Galloway. It's been a little bit of a disjointed start from both teams, but just a couple of minutes in. And this is Rostin Griffiths, one of the former glory members of the City team tonight. Here's another Scott Jamieson, kind of floated forward for the run of Metcalf. Instead, it was off the head of Vutric. And Perth will look to build down the right. In the shape of Ivan Franic. Sleeping low was Curtis Good. Griffiths again. Useful ball to pick out Cabrera. And a little back heel is cleverly done as well for Metcalf. Jamieson. Cabrera. Noon and McLaren wait in the penalty area. Griffiths will come back through Harrison Delbridge. And now Galloway turning clear of Castro. Nicely weighted out towards the Uruguayan Cabrera. 1-2 with Metcalf. And he'll find the cross, and McLaren was there to meet it at the near post. First little sighter for City's top scorer.
Yeah, good play. Down the left-hand side, little 1-2. Releases Cabrera, Connor Metcalf with the return pass. And look at that little darting run. Gets across the defender, Woodridge, outside of the right boot. Very difficult angle, but he almost makes something out of nothing there.
That's, would you believe, just his 13th shot of the season. Actually, the 12 previous ones might be on-target shots.
Sure.
So I'll hold fire on that stat. But he has scored 9 goals from 12 on-target shots, I know that. Delbridge. Straight at Kilkenny, Forteroli, immediately surrounded by Delbridge and Griffiths. They, if anybody, know better than anyone the threat that Forteroli poses. Galloway. Looking for that run off the shoulder of McLaren, but Alex Grant sees it out. Throw in by Noon. City just settling into early possession. Jamieson. There's a little slip there by Franic, which might allow Cabrera to steal in. Hanging cross towards Craig Noon. There's no real power or direction to trouble Liam Reddy. City starting to build, Robbie.
Yeah, and you see, hasn't been Jamie McLaren, but Cabrera twice now in behind Woodridge. Difficult one to control that cross for Cabrera, but that's in an attacking sense, the joy you can have against a back three. And those fullbacks are high and wide.
Economides protected the ball well there. Castro works it out towards Meredith. Nicely timed by Galloway. Now hassling Diego Castro, who was unflustered. Kilkenny looking to open it up for Franich on the right. Jamison quickly goal side. Nicely done by the left fullback. And by Cabrera subsequently as well. At least the initial work was good. Fornaroli penalised. Perth's only win this season, away in Wellington. Melbourne City's only loss, that 4-3 reverse, as Cabrera is called offside, to Brisbane in round 6 when they were 3-1 up and really shouldn't have lost that day. This is Murchela. It's good getting across Economides. Jamison. Cabrera, who's been busy early on, loses out to Kilkenny. Economides going to twist away from good. Monday, heavy pressure from Metcalf. Now Grant. Perth's turn to have a bit of time on the ball. One day needing options. Vutric. Ivan Franich. We'll start again through Tomislav Murchela. Economides trying to touch it around the corner. And he was collected from behind by Jamison, and referee Sean Evans immediately gets the yellow card out. First book into the contest, taken less than 9 minutes, Robbie.
Yeah, Scott Jamison just shaking his head, and he probably didn't need to do that because the ball was overhit. City were going to collect that ball, but he did follow through in his challenge from behind.
Third caution of the season for Jamison. Puts him 2 away from a ban. And a more immediate concern is a set piece about to be delivered by Neil Kilkenny. Vutric and Murchela potential targets. Goes towards Murchela at the back post. And Metcalf ensured that he didn't reach it. Last appearance in April at the back end of last season, Tomislav Murchela against Sydney FC. Off the head of Meredith. Touched back by Fornaroli for Hyundai. Castro with Griffiths at his back. Forces the turnover for Noon. Steady throw. Craig Noon not quite been able to replicate his brilliant FFA Cup form as yet in the A-League, but still a big contributor to City's early success. Just the one goal, which came from the penalty spot. There is the Englishman on the ball.
Yeah, but what he's done is he moves defences around and he roams across that front line, switching from left to right. So, you know, although he hasn't scored many goals, he's certainly had a large contribution, a really good start to the season for Melbourne City. Yeah, and there's a lot of unsung heroes when you look at City, how they've sort of been transformed under Eric Mumbert. Scott Galloway at right back, I think's really coming to his own in that position.
He had a good season last year with Adelaide in that role, did Galloway. Very much a seasoned A-League campaigner these days with his 5th club in the competition. This is Noon.
Of course, you've got, Jamison on the left, who's always good for balance and is, without doubt has been for quite some time one of the best left backs in the country. And of course, the emergence of Metcalf and John Rowe, who's on the bench. So it's not just been about Jamie McLaren's goals, although certainly that's taken the headlines, and rightfully so.
City looking to apply the high press. Grant has to go long, but he picks out Castro, who's then collected by Griffiths. And Tony Popovic is saying, what about a card for that one?
His eyes on the ball, is clearly going for the ball. Probably got a little bit of it, but he's late. Probably the right decision, just a free kick.
It was a glorious evening in Melbourne. Stark contrast to very humid and, of course, smoky conditions in New South Wales. Stumble by Franich. I don't think that was a foul, but the whistle's gone. I think he just lost his footing there, Franich. Sean Evans saw it differently. Quickly taken free kick. Economides bursting away from two defenders and finding the cross as well, and Delbridge was there to deny Alex Grant, who was just waiting for the ball to arrive onto his head.
It was good play, good wing play from Economides. Skipped past two challenges. And a good ball into the box. It was well defended by Melbourne City.
It's a rather aimless one from Murchela.
Well, Perth have certainly attacked that Melbourne City left-hand side. Haven't really seen the ball come down Meredith's side. It's the side where Castro sort of lingers in the inside pocket. I have noticed with Castro, it's still early, but he has been very deep in his starting position.
Maybe they feel that's where they can get him on the ball most, but as you saw in the last little exchange, Roston Griffiths wasn't having a bar of that. So it's Curtis Good. Played in a League Cup final for Bradford, along with James Meredith, who's on the opposition side tonight. Floated out by Delbridge towards Cabrera. Looking for the give and go with Jamison, and then he stole it on the blind side, the Uruguayan. It might fall kindly here for McLaren, but Murchela to take evasive action for Perth. Perth-born, but spent many years, of course, in Croatia. Curtis Good with time to have a little bit of a look. Meredith strong in the air for Perth. Curtis Good. Winning the air by Vutric, but it drops here for Jamie McLaren, and sort of form he's in at the moment. I reckon he might be a bit disappointed he didn't work Liam Reddy a bit harder there.
I think he was going for a lob.
I think he definitely was.
Yeah, it didn't come off and get enough on it.
Griffiths thought about the one over the top there for Noon, but he just straight into an offside position. Volante's second favourite for this one. Delbridge.
Yeah, tough to break down.
Nice ball by Delbridge.
When Franjic and Meredith drop in, straight five across the penalty box.
Griffiths just needed a little bit more accuracy for Connor Metcalf. Austin Griffiths has had to wait a while before establishing himself in City Blue, but our regular choice as we take in the panoramic of that glorious summer evening in Melbourne. Zarnes having to hurry because of the imminent arrival of Fornaroli. Wasn't the most elegant of touches from Jamison, but it did the job. Oh, Zarnes, terrible error. Castro. Well, it's a chance. Probably go down as a good one as well, with Liam Zarnes stranded off his line. And Castro made a bit of a hash of it.
Well, he just needed to take it quicker. What was he thinking there, Zarnes? There, he just hesitates and he has to sort of back up. And he's gone a sort of bit of a curler when really one good touch and a firm hit and he would have been into an empty goal. Got away with it.
Yeah. Big sigh of relief from Dean Zarnes. Bouncing ball, favoured good. Let's see if this touch is surer from Zarnes. It is. Nice turn from Griffiths. Again, looking to float it over the top for the run of McLaren. Virtual and Gutrick doubled up to ensure he didn't get a piece of it, but he applauds the intent. That's a poor ball by Grant. He wanted James Meredith to run onto that, but
well, even if he had
communication wasn't there.
But even if he tried to run it, he would never have got it.
Yeah.
The ball wasn't on.
I think he's saying more, that's where your position should be. Noon shut down by Hyundai. It's nice work by the Spaniard. Now Fornaroli. Short by Hyundai for Kilkenny. It's better for Meredith. Gets it back off Castro. And then runs into traffic in the shape of Griffiths, and City look to counter. It's real nip and tuck. Oh dear. Hyundai, that's a bad challenge, I have to say.
That was nasty.
Now we're right in front of that. Sean Evans is further away, and Jamison's angry about it.
Well, no, but he needs to stay away, Scott Jamison. You can see why he's fired up, but I know he's the captain, but he's already had a yellow card. This one, sliding out. Actually, nasty.
You know what? At second glance, okay, he's definitely late. It goes through him. It's not quite as high as I thought it was at first glance, but anyway, it is a booking for Hyundai. And probably rightly so. Here's Noon, the victim of that challenge. Couldn't quite clear Alex Grant. Castro driven back by Brillante.
See how deep Castro is there.
Space at a premium for the creative players. Javier Cabrera found a bit in the opening 5 or 10 minutes. I suppose the intensity of the game, Robbie, sort of underlines what's at stake for both teams.
Yeah, it's, you'd say, a very tentative, almost nervous start. And a little bit rusty after the week off, Melbourne City. And of course, Perth, they're not silly. They know they're bottom of the table. They've not found themselves chasing the games this season, and they don't want to be doing that again. And they've had the one big chance.
They've conceded the first goal in 5 of the last 6 of Tony Popovic's team. Always makes things tricky when chase in the game. Just to put that into context, they conceded the first goal last season when they were premiers on just 7 occasions in total. Swept out by Hyundai for a City throw. Little scoop by Jamison, it was inventive. Griffiths first with the loose ball. And Metcalf subsequently. City showing good appetite, floated in by Cabrera towards McLaren. It came off a Perth head. It'll be a corner.
Well, he's done well to just make a nuisance of himself there to get a corner out of it, because he was vastly outnumbered. First corner.
Yeah, it's taken almost until the midway point of the first half.
It just shows you there's been very little action in both front thirds. All been in the middle of the park. The battle.
Delbridge good and Griffiths are potential targets. That's good who went for it. One back by Griffiths. That's a nice touch by Cabrera. Here's Noon. Can't quite wrap his boot around it. Substituted early in City's last game, the 3-2 win at Western Sydney. Again, City not willing to allow Perth to play out. It's a really good release, though, by Reddy. Picked out Bruno Fornaroli beautifully. This is Franic on the right. Hyundai. Economides. With Curtis good for company and Jamison as well. Led upfield by Jamison, returned with interest by Vutric. Didn't sit for Brillante. Will now for Griffiths and subsequently Galloway. Next Grant too strong. Castro, touch short for Fornaroli. Tried to readjust, but Brillante was right on his case. And here comes Metcalf for City. Jamison takes over. Looking for that run again of Jamie McLaren. Too high for him. It'll drop, though, for Noon. Galloway. Looking for the give and go with Brillante, but get the purchase he wanted, Josh Brillante. That touch from Delbridge. He's the central defender, if you don't mind. Let's go down to Archie Thompson, who's pitch side for us tonight. What you made of the first 20 minutes, in particular, Glory's performance, Archie?
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Popovic is very vocal on the sideline here, urging his players to stay very, very disciplined. You can tell that, obviously, from last week, conceding a goal, they don't want to concede this week, so he's really instructing their players where to be, when to be, so they're not letting City really any sort of chances in behind.
Back to basics. Certainly worked in the early days of the Wanderers, didn't it? The first rule was we don't concede. Castro, no way forward for the little Spaniard. Griffiths.
Yeah, that's the one part of the game that Melbourne City clearly on top. Brillante and Roston Griffiths controlling that middle of the park.
As a result, chances really have been at a premium for both teams. Maybe Economides can change all that. Here's Castro in a sort of area of the pitch where he does a lot more damage. Franic on the right, going to sling it into the box. Never really had full control over it. City can look to break through Connor Metcalf here, but only McLaren in front of him.
See Perth, nearly every player back in their own half. Count that every player now with Fornaroli, and they're making it very tough for Melbourne City to play through them.
We Sort of should have expected this pattern of play in the early phase. There's a foul by Metcalf, and Sean Evans is going to blow after a slight delay. City have completed an awful lot more passes than Perth, but side of those two early chances, that volley for McLaren and Craig Noon's header. There's the challenge by Metcalf, clearly late. Perth have been relatively comfortable. Kilkenny had a great chance, of course, of their own through Diego Castro via Bazanis' error. Might open up here for Chris Economides. Turned the wrong way, and Griffiths got the challenge in. Meredith. Awkward one for Delbridge. Bounced just in front of him. And it pops for Hyundai. Loops up in the air off Metcalf, and Fornaroli! Had to be, didn't it? Just had to be. Melbourne City's all-time leading scorer returns to haunt his former club, scoring his 30th goal at Amy Park. But this is the first one he scored against City, and it is one that will hurt for the home team. Muted celebrations, but it's his name that is up in lights once more at this venue.
Well, it's a ball they should have dealt with, Melbourne City, given their height as well. Really good ball in from Meredith, and they failed to clear it properly. Hyundai with the strike, big deflection. That's in the air for a long time. Look where it bounces. Bazanis has got to come for that. That is clearly the goalkeeper's ball. Big deflection. You got I think Delbridge and Curtis Good are waiting for Bazanis to come, and he stays on his line. I don't know why. He's virtually on the 6-yard box. That ball was in the air. Clever header from Fornaroli. But really, the goalkeeper, he should be coming for that.
Oh, it's a moment of mixed emotions, really, wasn't it, for Bruno Fornaroli? But I don't know whether you were thinking the same thing, Robbie, when he's coming to the ground today. You think he's going to, isn't he? You just know he's going to have a big say in this game.
Well, at a ground where he had so many memorable nights. In that blue of City. Well, game that's been very, very even. Now, you think might open up a bit, although maybe not from Perth's point of view, but City can have to do a little bit more.
But I'm with you, just watching that replay, you can tell clearly that Harrison Delbridge is looking and waiting for Bazanis to come and collect that ball. And because he doesn't, that's hesitation proves fatal.
Yeah, and even if he comes and punches it, that's all he has to do. Any sort of pressure on Fornaroli there and he wouldn't have scored, but credit Fornaroli, clever header.
Good stretch by Galloway as City look to get back on terms. Brillante and Franich will see it behind. They're ready, giving I think James Meredith it is a real spray for allowing that cross to be delivered unchallenged. Fornaroli's had his say. It's Jamie McLaren about to respond in towards Griffiths. And there's a collision involving Grant and Hyundai, who's come off worst.
And you see that as it came from the left, Meredith with good work, but that ball's in the air for such a long time. Bazanis rooted to his goal line. I'm not sure why he wouldn't have come from that. That is a massive mistake.
And they've got the first goal. That's why Tony Popovic was punching the air.
Well, that's what he said. His pre-game interview, he said it'd be nice to get the first goal.
It's the 7th time in 6 games that Fornaroli has scored in this fixture at Amy Park. All the others, of course, were for City against Perth. And he's also just become just the 6th player to score 30 or more at this venue. Touched by Castro. Meredith having to readjust. Hyundai now recovered from that knock in his own penalty area. Nurchula. Evan Farrell whacked for Economides. He's blocked off the challenge of Conor Metcalf, so City get the decision. And a real challenge now for Melbourne City. They have scored 2 or more goals, it must be said, in 6 games straight now in the A-League, so they're more than capable of turning this around. That's the conundrum for Eric Mombert. He certainly won't be panicking just yet. Especially given their very strong record here at Amy Park. Last team to win here, Robbie, was Sydney FC, round 3 last season, 15 games ago.
Well, it's crucial. If you're going to be a force, if you're going to be successful, the home form is crucial.
Stumbled by Bazanis. Goodness me. He's having a real evening of it so far, isn't he? One miscued clearance that perhaps Castro should have scored from. And one hesitation that Fornaroli did. Meredith. Kilkenny. It's time to pick out a teammate. He does so beautifully. It's Fornaroli. It's Diego Castro. Oh, is he tripped by Noon? Perth think he was, or pushed. Sean Evans says nothing doing. I'm sure VAR will have a look at that. There was a stumble then by Grant, but he recovered in time.
Well, I'm just, unless he slipped, because I'm thinking, you know, there's no reason he would go down. He was about to pull the trigger. Noon was in the back of him. Castro's appealing to the skies. I think that's to the VAR, and they will be looking at it.
Chris Griffiths-Jones and the VAR booth tonight in Sydney. No word for them as yet as to whether there was anything in that. Here it is again. Maybe not. Unless you disagree, Robbie.
No, it looked like a stumble.
Here's Economides. Twisting and turning to try and get rid of Jamison. Kilkenny looking to place it. Cannon's back off Metcalf.
And you see they've inched forward, Perth. Confidence from scoring that goal. And
that doesn't help from Brillante. Far too casual. Castro. Places it ahead of Meredith. Oh, and Bazanis, and it drops onto the roof of the goal. He has had a very, very shaky first half.
Well, he's done enough to just get it over the bar. Put that in by Castro. Meredith's clearly the favourite.
It was an anxious look, wasn't there?
It wasn't very convincing. Skimmed off the top of his hands.
Just happy to see it plop on the roof of the goal. So Meredith's delivery and Bazanis' fumble produces that corner, which Kilkenny takes. Murchler at the near post. Caught and headed by Delbridge, and then there was a foul on Good.
Just follow through from Grant, but defended very convincingly, Melbourne City.
Now, just a quick cheerio to that gentleman there left the screen with the glasses and the moustache. That is Jim Milosavljevic, one of the 74 World Cup Socceroos. It's great to see him here. He's not been too well over the last 12 months, but he's fighting back and he's on the mend, and he's a great fella. One of the veterans of Rally Rasic's legendary team back in 1974. I don't think he actually played a game in West Germany, but he was certainly part of the squad. Important to remember our old Socceroos.
100%, 100%. Great to see him here at the game.
Ball spins away in favour of Jamie McLaren. Craig Noon losing out. Fornaroli, full of confidence, of course, after scoring against his old club. It's too strong by Economides.
Yeah, Melbourne City struggling to create something, and you saw Craig Noon there just a little bit slow. Need to be quicker. Just hesitated and gives Perth time to recover that ball.
Doesn't get too flustered, does he, Eric Monbert? Just gathers his thoughts ahead of his half-time team talk. I'm sure he'll be looking for a little bit more fluency from his team. Vutric had to make that. Perth have made it mighty difficult for them. Here's Griffiths.
Well, there is no space because once those fullbacks tuck in, there's 5, and then the midfielders, so Metcalf hasn't been on the ball.
Jamison, skewed cross, really. Meredith is too strong for Noon. Fornaroli onto it, and he's there ahead of Delbridge. That's an important foot-in by the City central defender, and then the ball back towards Curtis Good was a touch wayward as well, which almost opened the door for Economides. City really struggling. Another heavy touch, this time off Brillante. Sean Evans gives Glory the free kick. This touch here from Fornaroli is very good, and Delbridge then has to turn and get that foot in, which he does. Not best from Murtala. City fans looking to lift their team. Quite the same fluency that we've seen in the early part of the season from them.
No, Perth have made that difficult for them. But they haven't been good enough. They haven't moved the ball quick enough, the ball speed.
Maybe they will now. This is Metcalf. That's been the pattern.
Yet the ball goes in to the midfield and it comes back out. That's where they've had most of the ball. Everything in front of Perth Glory. They're just making it very difficult. The 5 along the back, 2 defensive midfielders, Kilkenny and Hyundai in front.
Murtala goes with McLaren. Try and hold him at bay. Back it comes again. Fornaroli defending from the front. Brillante. Space so difficult to find. Hyundai and Kilkenny dropping in when needs be as well. And Perth get the throw. Final touch must have been off Cabrera. It's a Fornaroli goal, incidentally, as we move into the last 5 minutes of the first half, was Glory's 50th against Melbourne City all told. That's a foul by Vutric on Cabrera. Switzerland against Uruguay.
Well, maybe a set piece, something that Melbourne City will get some joy from. Good position.
Plenty of height, they've got 2. Griffiths, Delbridge, Good, Metcalf. All capable if it goes the aerial route. And McLaren's pretty handy as well in the air. He's at the near post, 3 big guys at the back. Liam Reddy knows the danger only too well. a bit of an argument with Diego Castro about where the Spaniard should be. Tense moment, maybe an important one. City work it back for Jamison, change of angle. Well, in the end, it's rather disappointing from City's point of view. Why didn't they sling it into the box, Robbie?
They haven't had many occasions to do that, so I don't know. When they come back like that, they just make it easier for the defenders. Puts the defenders as favourites, really, from that kind of distance. That ball should have been whipped in from that position.
Noon being tracked by Grant. This is good. McLaren feeding off scraps at the moment. And a couple of half chances early on, but other than that, City's top scorer has been rather starved. City's best ever start to an A-League campaign, 16 points from 7 matches. About to hit a speed bump. Look how deep Craig Noon is.
Perth got the lead. They're just quite happy to sit in there, and they're saying to City, well, if you want to get through, you've got to be good enough.
62% of the ball for City, but it's what you do with it and where, crucially. Now they're in a better position. Cabrera in towards the near post, and Brillante was just trying to turn it around Murchela. Not the easiest thing to accomplish.
Well, once Cabrera comes back onto his right foot, virtually the chance is gone. He was in behind. He's just got to back himself on his left foot there, because Brillante made the run to the near post, but because he comes back onto his right foot, Brillante's already there. So when the cross comes in, he's standing there.
Glory yet to keep a clean sheet this season. They're almost halfway to achieving their first one of the campaign. They have been very resolute defensively in this first half. Economides can't quite steal away from Jamison. Gutrick's header straight at Metcalf. Franic with the intervention. Jab forward by Hyundai. Worked out by Economides to Franic. Ready with time. Infringement by Economides on Jamison. Quite the battle they've had in the first half. City looking to get back on terms before the interval. Brillante.
You see when Brillante, what, he's 30 metres out, picks up that ball, looks around. All he can see is black shirts.
Yeah. Defended very well so far. Here's Jamison. That's a decent ball, though. Away by Murchela. Castro can't get further contact on the ball, and Galloway's hooked forward. Finds Jamison clearly in an offside position. Hard work for the home side in this first half, which is now into injury time. Tony Popovic's plan has worked a treat so far. How does he solve that problem?
No, you're right. That's exactly what. And go back to his pre-game. It should be nice to get the first goal, and they've got it. And now they're just saying to Melbourne City, well, if you want to get back into the game, you're going to have to play through us. And that's proved a task too difficult for them in this first half. Melbourne City, so Eric Mombert has got a tough half-time team talk, and maybe a look at
does he make changes,
something on
Robbie?
the bench, something to add a bit of a spark.
Lockie Wales,
Lockie Wales, Jean Rowe.
Adrian Luna. Oh, Metcalf collected. Franich. That one stung a bit by the looks of it. Sort of underlines Perth's competitive nature tonight. Yeah, it's just a stamp on the boot of Metcalf. Back they come again, City. Tony Popovic going absolutely ballistic on the sideline. He knows how important this game is for his team tonight. Shank off the shin, I think, of Meredith. And that is half-time at Amy Park, and it's been a pretty good first half for Perth Glory, and especially for that man on his return to this venue. Bruno Fornaroli, for so many years a Melbourne City hero, has plunged a dagger into the heart of his old club with a goal on 28 minutes. And Glory have defended that lead resolutely, defiantly, ever since. City have had a couple of half chances, but nothing more. Big job for them in the second half at the break. It's Melbourne City 0, Perth Glory 1. Let's go down to Archie Thompson.
Thanks, Simon. Yeah, we're here with Josh Brillanti, mate. Not as fluent Melbourne City as we're used to seeing in that first half.
Yeah, no, to be fair, they're pretty well organised here. You know, we just got to be a bit more composed and make sure we keep the ball. And I think if we turn it over, then that's when they'll create the opportunities. So just going to keep working hard and do our thing.
Okay, and that's the improvements you want to make at the half-time, just to get the ball moving a bit quicker?
Yeah, I think definitely a lot quicker. That's the main thing. They're getting across and they're well organised. So we need to move it to try and break them apart a bit more.
Well, best of luck for the second half, mate. Castro, brilliant first half by your teammate. Great defensive display.
I think yes. Well, we've been controlling without the ball in this case. You know, in the last games, maybe as usual we got a lot of possession. And today maybe changed a little bit because we know they are on fire, they are playing well, they especially here at home, they are strong. And we see what happened in the second half. I think we can change the momentum in the last games, and maybe for the second half, in this time we will in for our side.
Okay, best of luck for the second half. Join myself and Michael Zapponi as we analyse that first half.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
We've got our fans, and they're in a competition to win tickets to the Chairman's Club for the Melbourne Derby on the 21st of December. It's going to be absolutely massive. Now, I know we're excited, and it's a really, really simple concept. It's a race. We've got to run all the way over to the Matchworks flag and make our way back, and the winner gets to take home this wonderful prize. Are we ready? Awesome. On my count, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, yeah, and break, by the way, too.
So,
Okay, sorry.
Ants coached you, didn't he, Arch? Is it, you were there.
Yeah. I get scared every time a ball comes and
I know.
it's hit. Because I'm snapping.
Ah.
Accidentally.
I get scared. I cop one on the back of the head.
Oh.
It would be. It would go viral.
No.
2 tickets to the Chairman's Club for the Melbourne Derby.
Matchworks knows a thing or two about bringing diverse job seekers and employers together. Our work helps build business, careers.
Well, Melbourne City trail the Perth Glory by a goal to nil here at Amy Park. It's been a very disciplined display by Tony Popovich's side. Melbourne City were the form team of the competition coming into this game. They had the bye last week. Has that hurt them? Archie Thompson joins me at half-time. Archie, a really impressive display from the Perth Glory, who are playing against one of the best teams in the A-League at the minute.
Yeah, well, Popovich said, obviously, before the game that he wants to see a better disciplined defensive side of his game because they had conceded first in practically nearly every game of this season. So he wanted to see, I suppose, a response from his players, and he got it because what we're used to seeing of City is a fluent, fast-moving type of high-tempo football. And the way that Perth is set up is not allowing that. So what Pop has done is outstanding. Mombarts is obviously going to go into that change room, look to build his team up and maybe make a few changes.
Yeah, very good from Perth. And Diego Castro has been one of the best players in the competition over the last few years. And once again, he's been involved heavily in the first half for Perth Glory. Bruno Fornaroli, it was all about him tonight. It was always going to be about him. And he delivered, just as we thought. 30 goals at this venue. You scored a few yourself, Arch. We don't want to focus too much on the negatives, but Dean Bazanis here needs to come for that, surely.
Yeah, well, look, a few straight passes from Bazanis. Looked a bit nervy, but Bruno Fornaroli, this is the type of quality he has. I mean, his awareness to know where goal is, flick it on, and sometimes a bit of luck sometimes. But, yeah, Bazanis probably could have come for that. But what I love about Castro, and this Perth team, even Castro said it in the interview just before half-time, it was like more of a defensive display. We've had possession, amount of possession that we've had, but not really create anything. I think the way that they're set up today, we've almost, when they do win the ball, they only look to send De Castro and Economides and Diogo forward and just sort of leave everyone behind. And I think that's the sort of game plan. And here's the opportunity for Castro. This is the sort of way that the season's been going for Perth. That sort of opportunity, he would have gobbled it up last year. But, you know, I think the way that this team is displayed today is that more of a defensive mindset than an attacking, because we're used to seeing a really high-pressured tempo type of football from Perth, especially in the third.
Look at this pass from Neil Kilkenny. That's my favourite pass of the half so far. Brilliant to spot for Neroli, the back heel, and then the setup for Castro. The penalty appeals were waved away. The right call in the end, but geez, that was beautiful movement forward by Perth.
Well, and that's it. And we haven't seen much of it. Like I said, they just purely looked at playing on the counter, which we're not used to seeing from Perth, but they're a different mindset. It's not helping City because City have obviously, the way that they play, they look to play the tempo football. And the way, again, Perth is set up, they're not allowing that. We'd like to see a bit more of McLaren. But too, with Perth, they're sitting deep, so there's not much space in behind. Early days, we looked at Cabrera getting in behind. But you find when you do start matches, you always look to turn the team around. But the way that Perth has settled in, the defence has just been perfect.
Yeah, making it tough. We're really seeing that Ivan Franjic and James Meredith sticking towards the back there, playing as a back five on most occasions, and Jamie McLaren only getting rare opportunities and half chances like this one.
Yeah, well, we've always seen with City that they come out second half a lot stronger. And these half chances, they'll be creating a lot more. And I know that Popper will be in there and talking to his team that we need to keep this disciplined display up because the amount of quality that City team has, it's been showcased pretty much throughout the year that they've got the players that can turn a game. And like McLaren, okay, he's only had half chances so far, but the type of form he's in, it's those half chances that will get him a goal. And that's what Perth, and I'm sure Popper talked about over the week, is he doesn't want these little half chances, easy chances to score, which teams have against Perth this year.
All right, also just quickly on Cabrera. He looks like the one that could break the deadlock. He's probably looked more likely for Melbourne City out of anyone down that left-hand side.
Yeah, he started really brightly. His touches are great. He looks to make those nice little runs in behind. And for me too, the back three are not quick. So if I think Mombat's will be talking to the City players in there to look to get really quick movement of the ball, but balls in behind where he can attack, because early days he was creating a lot of havoc in that sort of back line for Perth.
It's a big weekend in the A-League. It's also a big weekend right around world football. And one of your former coaches, Archie, Ange Postecoglou, has got a big date ahead of him on Saturday, tomorrow, our time in Japan. He looks to become the first coach, Australian coach, to win the J-League. Andy Harper caught up with him yesterday, and here's a preview of what they had to say.
You've been in some pretty rarefied football atmospheres, Ange. What has Frenzied Week been like in Japan? How does J-League at this level and what you're experiencing compare?
It's bizarrely, it feels like a grand final week, which we know, all about it in Australia, because that's how we climax our championship, with a grand final. And with us playing FC Tokyo this week, them in second spot, it's got a grand final week feel about it. Look, the media attention, just the general buzz around the whole city. Obviously, it's a club that hasn't had success for quite a while, and from that perspective, it's exciting. I mean, I think this part of wherever I've been, this part of it, I kind of lock into some pretty key fundamentals for me in terms of preparing the team, and it's more about sitting back and watching everyone else enjoy the what's to offer over the next sort of couple of days and leading into it. So, by all accounts, it'll be a record crowd, J-League crowd on the weekend. Stadium sold out for weeks now. First against second. As I said, it feels like a grand final week in Australia, probably amplified, 100 times.
Yeah, we wish Ange all the best. More of that interview in our post-game show tonight here at Amy Park, so don't go away after the break. It's the second half. Can Melbourne City fight back against the Perth Glory? Tony Popovic's side looking for their second win of the season. More right after this.
Hello, just checking you can hear me down there.
I can.
Yes.
M'entends tu bien?
You have to put on French accent.
Ah oui.
Merci.
C'est très bien.
Très bon.
Excellent. All right, thanks guys. Happy to.
hello.
Hello.
Eric, hello, it's Simon. We'll be with you very shortly, okay?
Yeah.
Merci.
Merci.
Well, Jamie McLaren hasn't drawn a blank so far this season for Melbourne City, but he's been starved of opportunities in the first half, and the team looking to go back to the top of the A-League tonight trails the team at the bottom. Bruno Fornaroli. Who else with the only goal so far? Eric Mombert, the Melbourne City coach, is waiting to speak to us. Eric, thank you very much for your time as always. How do you change things around in the second half?
Oh, we have to move more their defensive block, and we have also to play more in between their line. And yes, we have also to correct our positioning, and also we change our winger. Maybe we'll more push more our winger high also.
Do you have to be patient as well, because the passing lanes have been effectively blocked off by that defensive shape of Perth?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We need to be patient, but also we need to pass through their defensive line, so we need to be more accurate with our passing range also.
We wish you well. Thank you very much for your time, Eric.
Thank you.
That is Eric Mombert, the Melbourne City coach. His 15-game unbeaten home run of Melbourne City, very much under threat, but they have won just one of the last 10 matches against Perth, and not at home in regular season play since November 2015. So very intriguing second half ahead of us, and I'm sure Robbie Slater, Tony Popovic, we've heard from Eric Mombert, but Tony Popovic will have largely said a bit more of the same, please. His plans worked a treat.
Yeah, they had their structure perfect. They limited Melbourne City to having the ball really in the middle half of the field, the middle third, and I'd say he'd want a little bit more from his front players when they do gain possession of the ball. But tactically, he's played it perfect, and the important thing was getting the first goal.
They want to get off the bottom of the league, do Perth. They haven't been bottom for consecutive rounds in the A-League since all the way back in season 13-14. Looking pretty good at the moment to avoid that. This is Curtis Goods. Bounce maybe put him in two minds. Helped further away by Roston Griffiths. Perth will reset through Tomislav Merchula, who floats it out in front of Franic, who will get there. And the cutback is not bad, and Castro was onto it. It will be a corner for Perth, who start the second half strongly.
Well, Franic did well to get to this, cuts it back, and Castro attacking the ball.
It's Delbridge in the way.
Yeah, because that was on target.
Scored just the once this season so far, Diego Castro. Had that opportunity first half by the Bazanis error. Here's Kilkenny's corner. Roston Griffiths first to react. Castro. Touch short for Kilkenny, but the return is beautiful by Neil Kilkenny. Castro inside the penalty area. It's Vutric, and it's got in off Harrison Delbridge. An own goal. Perth won't care about that. They've doubled their advantage at Amy Park.
Well, the second phase of that corner, and Castro gets in behind. And then that's where the damage is, and the striker Golan Delbridge, the ball's actually going out. He obviously didn't know that. Kilkenny's done well, plays in Castro, looks up, has only really got this ball back. The strike there, and that ball was definitely going out until Delbridge stuck out his outstretched left leg, comes off him, and cannons in off the post. What a terrific start for Perth Glory in this second half.
By contrast, huge damage inflicted, self-inflicted, as it turns out, by Harrison Delbridge, and now they've got a mountain to climb. Long unbeaten run really is under threat now at home. Vutric, who played a big part in the goal, just stumbled, lost his footing for a moment. And back half barged over by Franic. They've got the bit between their teeth, Perth. And all those best laid plans that we heard about from Eric Mombert just moments ago have gone out of the window. They need a response. It's been pretty flat from City. They've got a free kick here, which Craig Noone is going to take. Common with a lot of stuff in the first half. It's gone backwards, but floated forward by Jamison. And the pace on it means it skips away off the turf from Conor Metcalfe.
Well, once he let it bounce, it skips away. He shouldn't have let it bounce. It's in an interesting position. He made a clever little run, and Jamison found him.
We talked about potential changes for Eric Mombert. I know the second half is only just underway, but now that the deficit is out to 2, would you be thinking about those changes sooner rather than later, Robbie?
Definitely, given the way, the pattern of the game. You said it right. They just looked flat this evening.
Jamison. Noone. Franic doing his duty. It's the club with whom he won the FFA Cup 3 years ago. Set up Timmy Cahill for the winner. Timmy Cahill's 40 today. Happy birthday to Australia's all-time leading goal scorer. Jamison. Cabrera. He and Noone have swapped flanks in the second half to try and get a little bit of extra joy out of those wing-backs. Noone is on the left. Here he is, the Englishman. Behind him is Metcalfe. Delbridge, scorer of that unfortunate own goal. Pinged out towards Noone. Everything is in front of Perth at the moment, which is exactly where they want it. Look at that defensive block. Everybody behind the ball. Bar Fornaroli now. Brillante. City find a way through. You can hear the groans of frustration as they turn back for what seems like the umpteenth time. Galloway's skipped clear though, but his cross isn't really very meaningful. Loops up in the air by Kilkenny. Oh, it's good contact from Griffiths. And Economides now stealing in on the blind side of Jamison. There's Curtis good for company. Economides ignores the run of Franic. Kilkenny. On the left is Castro. And the run from Economides has caught City napping. Josh Brillante just went to sleep for a second there. And City perhaps a little fortunate, Robbie, they didn't suffer further damage.
Definitely, because as Economides breaks down that left-hand side, Fornaroli had just checked his run. And if he'd had a look, because Franic came for the cutback as well, and he's going to cross the face of goal. If Franic had a gamble on the back post, he gets a tap in, but if he'd cut it back to Fornaroli, he would have had a tap in. So that was definitely a missed opportunity.
Noone into the channel for McLaren. Has Jamison up alongside. Here is the City captain. Can he find the delivery? Not quite. Swept away by Vutric. Noone. Look how many Perth bodies are in there. It's like trying to wade through treacle for Melbourne City, and Fornaroli will bring it clear. Economides through the legs of Curtis Good. Really well played. Castro. Economides has come alive, hasn't he? Start of the second half. Castro back for Franic. Only Fornaroli in the box. Castro invites Franic forward. Straight at Bazanis in the end, but again, good movement by Perth.
Yeah, great play. And Castro's getting more involved. Economides. Franic, you could see what he was thinking. He's trying to whip that one because Fornaroli was at the back post. He's got a bit too much on it.
City desperate to find a spark. Metcalf. Vutric too strong. It's been that sort of a night for those in City Blue. The applause you can hear in the background is from Tony Popovic. Here's the As Live ladder, and it shows just how tightly bunched the A-League is, that Perth would leap into the top 6 tonight from bottom place if they were to see this one out for the 3 points. It's a good aerial win, though, by Connor Metcalf. Here's Noon. Josh Brillante just sliced across the ball.
He probably didn't realise it, but he had time there to take a touch. A rare opportunity to get a strike on goal. See, he could have taken a touch here.
Did score against Western Sydney Wanderers in the last outing, Melbourne City. Won that game 3-2. Economides again. Jackson sticking tight to him on this occasion. Vutric and Hyundai playing between them. Forward by Merchela. Well, it's not a great touch by Goods. Could open the door here for Fornaroli. Force wide by Delbridge, still Fornaroli. In the end, it took the intervention of Galloway.
Well, not only are Perth looking comfortable, but they're growing in confidence.
Looking more dangerous. One day. Test for good. He's really passed it with flying colours and then upends Economides rather unceremoniously.
What a great start to from Economides in this second half. A constant threat down this right-hand side.
Scott Jamison been told to retreat. Kilkenny took it too quickly for Sean Evans' liking. City have been forewarned about that particular ball. This might be something a touch more conventional. Tell to it, but underneath it was Rostin Griffiths. One day. It's going to be another Perth corner. Kilkenny's had a few problems with his sleeves, it appears, tonight. Keeps readjusting them every time he goes to take a set piece. Dares to take it like Johnny Wilkinson did in rugby union all those years ago. Going to flight it for Vutric at the back post. Cabrera's clearance is not nearly strong enough, and Perth are determined in the challenge again. This is Castro. Two defenders in front of him. Has Merchela if he needs him. Chooses Hyundai instead. Oh, and upended clumsily by Rostin Griffiths on the edge of the box.
Yeah, he committed. A little body feint from Hyundai. A great position here for Melbourne City. Just gets to the ball, taps it past him, and Austin Griffiths, he knows it already as he commits it. Perth in total control at the moment.
Even with a touch over half an hour to go, a third goal here, you fancy might just kill the contest off once and for all. Castro is certainly capable. Has scored an absolute bomb here last season, you might remember, from long range that deceived Eugene Galekovic. All ends up. That was from open play. This is a set piece, and there is a gap if he can find it. Rosales trying to peer through the wall. Could be a key moment, this. Diego Castro straight into the wall. Overhead stop was by Hyundai. Acrobatic from Castro's compatriot. Quick release by Bazanis as they look to catch Perth unawares, which they haven't been able to do on too many occasions tonight. Useful ball by Jamison. McLaren. Metcalf. Left it short. All Fornaroli. Squirmed away from the Uruguayan. But just showing again the determination. Bruno Fornaroli was basically in a defensive midfield position there, willing to do anything to help his team out. Lachlan Wales is going to be introduced shortly for Melbourne City. Meantime, it's Jamison over the head of McLaren, and easy for Kilkenny. Oh, look at that from Hyundai. Beautifully done. And Castro gets the whistle, and City will make that change. Can Lachlan Wales provide the spark, Robbie? Goodness knows they need one.
Well, they do, and as I said, Castro more and more on the ball, really dictating the tempo now.
And strangely enough, Robbie, Javier Cabrera had a really good first 5 minutes, and then that was about it, wasn't it?
That probably sums up the problem, but he's not. No, he could have taken any of them, really. It's just been one of those evenings. Connor Metcalf hasn't been in the game. Craig Noon. McLaren has had no chances.
So Wells will play down the right, the position that Cabrera vacated. Metcalf nipped in ahead of Hyundai, but sent the ball the wrong way. Brillante. Jamison for Noon. Too often Craig Noon has been driven back towards halfway. This super organised, very well disciplined Perth 11. Brillante, that's not going to work out either. Does seem a little bit short of ideas, City, at the moment. That should be music to his ears. Wales looking for the run of Galloway, and tracked by Meredith. Real up and under this one. Hyundai took control. Out it comes for Wales. Never really set himself. But it's a shot at least, Robbie.
Well, he was never really in the position to hit that ball. He had better options. He felt as that ball came out to him. He's just come on. Difficult one to take on.
No goals this season as yet for Lockie Wales, but he's had a couple of assists to his name, and all told has been involved in 4 City goals. Here's Meredith. James Meredith still finding his feet, you could say, to a certain extent in the A-League, of course, after many years in England. Big boots to fill in terms of Jason Davidson as well, was so much a part of Perth's success last season. 2 times capped Australian international. Actually back in the city where it all started for him, Meredith. Played his junior football here, despite being born in Albury Wodonga. Bounced up onto the chest of Metcalf. Outside of the boot from Noon. Galloway looking to drive forward. Maybe have a pop himself, but rather tame in the end. This is Fornaroli.
A team that's been...
Drew the contact from Delbridge and almost invited the whistle. And City is saying, well, he actually instigated that foul himself. And let's have a look and see if they're right. I think they are, you know.
But for a team that's been so easy on the eye, they've been very one-dimensional this evening, Melbourne City. And you have to put that down to Tony Popovic's tactics. They've been spot on. And crucially, they get that opening goal that sets it up.
Galloway's done well to retrieve that. Sat very deep in the first half, Perth. Been a touch more expansive in the second. Very mindful of looking to protect this advantage. Metcalf, they're very quick to get bodies around the ball. Case proven, albeit that's a foul from Economides. At times they have been able to smother the life out of Melbourne City. As you remarked in the first half, Robbie, maybe it's a set piece that's going to provide that little opportunity to get past Liam Reddy. See what they can do with this one. Wales goes square. Galloway looking to curl it. Again, I do wonder why they don't try and put it in the box. They do have a lot of aerial capability.
Well, I think you must have just come up with the fact that they've got a lot of height as well with Guthridge and Marcella.
Pinched on the blind side of Franich by Metcalf. This looks more promising. Swept away by Guthridge. Brillante. Looking to hit Noon at the back post. And that'll be a Perth throw. Tony Popovic's side have had only 40% of the ball. Just 201 completed passes. City up to nearly 400. Only numbers that really matter are the one right at the top, or the ones right at the top. City 2, Perth 0. Rather, City 0, Perth 2. I'll get it right in the end. Castro, soft touch. Beautiful, low centre of gravity. Used his body terrifically well then. Kilkenny feeding Meredith on the left. Into the box for Fornaroli. Well guarded by Delbridge. And it goes off Hyundai. Perth are going to make a change shortly. News on that in a moment. Nicely done by Alex Grant. Vutric. Fornaroli holds off the attentions of Delbridge. They find Franich intelligently. Economides stood up by Jamison. Joel Chianese is going to be the change for Perth. Next break in play, not this one. Kilkenny. Castro. Economides. Economides again. Franich. Slips it through for Castro, and Griffiths attract the run at the expense of the corner.
Well, just as Castro followed that pass and the Franich had to let it go, Castro would have been in on goal there. Perth looking more likely to add a third rather than City getting one back at the moment. Really has been a very, very professional performance, and a fair bit of quality in this second half as well.
Chianese waiting his turn. Kenny's ready to take the latest corner for Perth. All along the floor for Fornaroli. Gets the return, Kilkenny. Now looks for the aerial head of Tomislav Merchela, who planted in the top corner. And Perth, you'd say now, with 20 minutes to go, are home and hose for the 3 points.
What a ball from Neil Kilkenny. And a thumping header from Merchela as well, making his first start of the season. And Perth, brilliant in this second half. Again, second phase of the corner. The ball comes back out to Kilkenny, just gets out his feet. Look at the quality of that. And it's Merchela who towers above everybody else. And a thumping header. No chance for Buzanis. A very good Perth Glory goal.
And it is the first A-League goal for Tomislav Merchela on his first appearance of the season. Nice moment for him. And Perth's performance tonight, you have to say, right across the pitch has been top draw. That's brought a second City change. Josh Brillante has been withdrawn. The more attacking Adrian Luna introduced. It's desperation stuff now, really, for City. Still, Joel Chianese waits for his introduction. And it's the small knot of Perth Glory fans you can hear around Amy Park. Who would have predicted this scoreline? Well, actually, me for one, Robbie, because I tipped Perth this week.
You did.
I'm not sure it would have been this comfortable, though. Here's Noon. City get one back. Thumped away by Meredith.
Perth are just putting in a performance, you know, maybe talked about it during the week. Behind closed doors of, you know, just maybe Tony Popovich reminding them of what they did last season. And the players have come here with determination to maybe just show that, you know, the Premiers are still there.
That they are. There's the Glory fans on tour today. In buoyant spirits, and why not? And Chris Economides, very good second half in particular, is going to take his leave. And Joel Chianese is going to be introduced. Chianese, I can tell you, doesn't mind a goal at this venue. He scored 4 times at Amy Park. Previous A-League matches. City desperate for something. Too flat, the delivery though from Lachlan Wales. Might get a second go here. Got to the byline. Acrobatically away by Ivan Franich.
It just shows desperate defending. They got that First post well covered. Franjic arriving late. Wells there trying to hit it into the near post where Jamie McLaren was.
Wales more conventional this time. Delbridge launched himself at it. Came off Franjic, so City will get another go. That's what you've been expecting them to do all night, slinging that more conventional delivery. They've clearly decided now it's time. Noon's delivery this time. And it was Griffiths underneath it, but not accurately enough for City. Paul Stanley or Gene Simmons?
He'll have to stick out his tongue.
That's some get-up, isn't it, for an A-League game? Is it fancy dress? Sometimes they do fancy dress, the Glory fans on tour. I'm told he's normally dressed like that in the shed. That's just his shtick. Can't miss him, that's for sure. Held back by Franjic for Castro. A little bit subdued first half, wasn't he, Diego Castro, but very much on the ball in the second. Here he is again, and he finds the gap, but just too heavy for Chianese.
He was onside as well. Just a little bit too much on it. Brilliant vision from Castro. Been everywhere in the second half when it's mattered.
Get away from McLaren. He was holding back James Meredith. Frustrating night for City's top scorer. You talked about in pre-game, Robbie, rightly, about being in the groove in front of goal, but you've got to have the service.
No, Melbourne City have been off. And I liken this performance from Melbourne City, I hope they don't mind because they've got their game coming, but to Adelaide last week against Wellington. And that's nothing to take away from Wellington's performance there or Perth's performance here, but given the form they've been in, it's just one you can't sort of get your head around.
There's Chianese. And I guess the fear, and we've talked about this before for City fans as well, they had a big chance tonight to go back to the top of the league, put pressure on Sydney FC, make a statement. And they haven't been able to take it. Same as when they played in the cup final against Adelaide. Got flattened 4-0. Whilst those events keep happening, albeit infrequently, question marks will remain over City. Tapped by Luna towards Lachlan Wales. Scoot back towards Wales. Ursula will see it out.
And as has been the case all evening, just so many black shirts in and around Liam Reddy, who has not had a save to make, has he?
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that question. Can't remember too many. Corner short for Noon. It's Curtis Good, I think, with the final attempts. No, Metcalf.
It's about as close as they've come. Just couldn't redirect this. Plenty of swing on it, and as you can see, it's missed by some distance. Again, just the Perth Glory defender, just doing enough to put him off as he strikes the ball.
Third and final change for City. Eric Mombert empties his bench. Another attacking change, even though nominally they play the same position. Nathaniel Atkinson can give them some thrust down that right-hand side. Just wondering whether Scott Galloway might have picked up a knock as well, just pointing to his left heel. That's a clever leave by Fornaroli. I'm not sure Chianese actually anticipated that. Jamison. Driving forward, the City captain. Noon. Taran couldn't quite reach it. Reset through Griffiths for Metcalf. A little bit intricate for City, but it might break here for McLaren. And Metcalf's onside. It's Conor Metcalf. They've got one back, City, or do they? No, flags up. It's not going to count.
We're going to have a look at it. The referee's assistant waited till the action was over.
And that's what the linesmen are told to do. Let's have a look. Yeah, he's a mile off.
Good finish.
Was. George Lacrindis, not the most popular man around Amy Park for raising that flag. It was the correct decision. Luna directing the traffic. Noon. Jamison. Metcalf again in that sort of position, just on the left-hand side of the penalty area, gets a corner off Butrick. Into the last 10 minutes. Noon hits Forderoli. Luna. Too heavy. As good as City have been so far this season, they have flatlined a bit tonight. Got a trip to Newcastle to come, and the big derby against Melbourne Victory here at Amy Park before they then travel away to Sydney FC. Those are the next 3 assignments for Eric Momber's team. Glory have a couple of home games against the Wanderers and the Jets. So a chance for Tony Popovic and his team to build some real momentum. Worked out by Luna towards Atkinson.
Yeah, you just get the feeling that this could be the kind of, not only the result, of course, is the obvious one, but performance that just clicks them into gear. And in some respects,
well, he didn't seem too worried pre-game, did he?
No.
Tony Popovic said the performances have been okay. Here's Noon's corner. And Atkinson, rather Delbridge and Metcalf going for the same ball. I think that might be a touch of friendly fire there on Conor Metcalf. Yeah, plonk. Ouch. That's a nasty one, actually, that, isn't it? Totally accidental on Harrison Delbridge's behalf and Conor Metcalf. It's a bit of a bell ringer for the young Novocastrian. And they're going to take a bit of time here to make sure he's okay, which is obviously the correct thing to do. And he's a big talent. Had one goal ruled out correctly for offside. In common with most of his teammates. Not been at his best tonight. Delbridge, of course, scored the second, perhaps you could say, crucial goal, an own goal. Merchel has since added a third. And they will be off the foot of the table tonight, barring a late miracle. Have a look at the As Live ladder. City would miss the opportunity to overtake Sydney FC. They're in action, of course, tomorrow. That's bushfire smoke notwithstanding. There is a slight question mark over that game at Jubilee Stadium. Eric Momber looking a little bit downbeat. The other game tomorrow sees Wellington Phoenix entertain Western Sydney Wanderers. Big game that for Marcus Babbel, given their struggles in recent weeks. And then 2 games on Sunday, Robbie. Adelaide against Newcastle and Victorian derby between Western United and Melbourne Victory and Geelong.
Forward to that. Western United have lost 3 on the bounce. Victory winning last week, of course, against Perth. So we know what happened in the first game. It was a cracking one of the games of the season.
And this has certainly been Perth's performance of the season. Here's Franich. Just overreaching. Not the most elegant of clearances from Curtis Good. Square by Hyundai for Kilkenny. Connor Metcalf still off the field, incidentally, so City down to 10 just for the time being. Franich in a tussle with Jamison.
Look at the pressure there from Perth. Fornaroli and Castro.
Still hungry, aren't they? They did have large periods of the game. They were very good against Victory last week, but came up short in the end. Quickly taken free kick by Noon for Wales. Vutric's been very good tonight as well. In fact, they haven't had a bad player all over the pitch, have they, Glory?
No.
Everybody's done their job.
Yeah, discipline, determination.
Meredith. Not quite good enough to get away from Atkinson. Delbridge under pressure has turned the ball over again. Kilkenny. Fornaroli, who got the ball rolling for Perth tonight. Kilkenny looking to play in Chianese, but Jamison was there. Kilkenny again, and Chianese's onside here, but it just squirmed away from Joel Chianese. Second change for Perth, and it's the end of the section for Bruno Fornaroli, who has a bit of a look around Amy Park, and he will quite generously get an ovation, not just from the Perth fans, but also from the Melbourne City supporters who loved him so much during his time here. And that was the goal that got things started for Perth. He didn't celebrate too much, but inwardly I'm sure he's delighted to have scored that goal. And he's shown them tonight, Robbie, what they've been missing this evening anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I think you said in the first half you just had a feeling coming here that Bruno would score tonight. That certainly happened, but I don't think many were expecting this performance from Perth Glory, given the difficulties they've had. Bit of an understatement when they were bottom of the table when this game kicked off. But as you said and pointed out, it just shows you how tight it is that they're now in the 6 with this win. But the performance has been superb from Perth.
Just a bad day at the office for City, or something a bit more? Let's see how this develops.
Look, I think
there you go.
I think it's a little bit like Adelaide last week. At the moment, you put it as a very bad day at the office, and then you see what they come up with in their next game.
Dean Bazanis had a bit of a shaky first half. That certainly didn't help. Maybe should have come for that opening goal converted by Fornaroli. Liam Reddy has had the best view of all. Barely as safe to make all night. Delbridge. Jamie McLaren has been watching those Balls float over his head all night. His prolific goal-scoring run looks as though it's going to come to a close. He's still got another 4 games to break Shane Smeltz's record of being the quickest player to double figures in a single season. Smeltz did it 10 in 10. McLaren is 9 from 5 after tonight, unless he gets a late goal. That might have been handball against Castro. Sean Evans happy to let it ride. Chianesi's on his bike down the right, and he's quick. Curtis Good trying to make up the ground. It's Chianesi. Good sees it behind for a corner.
Yeah, Chianesi there. For me, this is a great challenge. He's got no other option. He wants to come inside on his left foot. I thought he should have just drove to that towards that near post. He gave Good the chance by de-accelerating to try and get it back on his left foot. I thought he had every right there to drive towards the near post and strike it.
Well, can he go short for Brimmer from the corner? Wales a bit slow to react, but he got there in the end. Short this time for Castro. To 4 additional minutes at the end of the 90. Clever ball by Castro. Nobody's picked up Chianesi. It required Delbridge's intervention to prevent a 4th goal. Sense that City just can't wait for the final whistle. Slav Merchula's first A-League goal, setting the seal on a comprehensive win for Tony Popovic's team. Castro just got caught up between his feet, but it breaks kindly here for Chianesi. And James Meredith on the left. Nobody in the box to try and pick out. Time is of the essence for City. Not Perth. They might get a chance here. Chianesi. Oh, and Delbridge almost on the line. Although the flag was up, so it wouldn't have counted in any case. Chianesi fancying his chances of joining in on the goal-scoring action. Perth in total control. Chianesi. Off balance, he felt unfairly so, thanks to the pressure applied by Roston Griffiths. Any goal now for City would be mere consolation. Noon. Finds the angle for the cross, but McLaren was drawn to the near post. Up in the air by Hyundai. Here's McLaren. Perth's successful run against City. It's going to read just 1 loss in the last 11 meetings between these two in a minute or so's time. Strange how these things work sometimes, despite the league positions. Lovely ball by Delbridge, and Wales' first touch was very good. Perth just managed to get defenders back in time. Here's Craig Noon. Square it goes for Griffiths. Last knockings for City. Atkinson has overhit that. And that might be their last chance. Well, he demanded a big performance, and he's certainly got one. His team has followed his instructions to the letter. There we go, a little reminder from the Premiers that their league position was perhaps a little false. Big win for Glory, that, and one that takes them off the foot of the A-League ladder and prevents City from returning to the top of it. Bruno Forderoli, of course, was at the centre of the narrative, scoring the first goal. In the second half, they added 2 more. Harrison Delbridge own goal, and then Tomislav Merchela's first in Glory colours. Amy Park, a happy hunting ground once again for the Glory. It's their 10th win here in all, and one that probably makes up a bit, at least, for their loss against Victory in this City last week. It is Melbourne City's first home loss in the A-League in well over 12 months. Glory tonight were far too good for the home side. That's the way it finished. Melbourne City 0, Perth Glory 3. Let's join Archie for some reaction.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Killer, must be great to finally put a result and some points to your performance tonight.
Yeah, like I said before, I think we've been dominating games possession-wise, but obviously not getting the 3 points. Obviously, the first goal makes a massive difference. I think they had probably a bit more possession than us tonight, but it was brilliant. We picked them off.